Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello once again. Welcome everybody to the Simulationist podcast. This is iteration 92, recorded on the 8th of June, 2014. And as always, I am Josh Trelevin, and with me...
I believe I'm Ryan Kirkby, but I haven't checked my wallet recently, so I might be wrong.
Okay. Well, yeah, as far as I know, that's who you are.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, welcome to another iteration of...
The Simulationist. This is, don't forget, the month of, Free RPG Day. So, go up online to, Free RPG Day. Google it, Bing it. However your search engine goes, search it up. Find out if anyone in the local area is giving away the free RPG games, which ones they might be giving out. Other than that, that's all up to you. I mean, this is such a across, North America and I think some parts of Europe phenomena. We can't really give much more detailed information than that. Consult your friendly, neighborhood gaming center.
Yeah.
And find out who's participating. And if so, what free, swag and loot you've got coming your way. Other than that, I think, what have you been doing this week, Josh?
Yeah, we talk about Simulationist. I've been playing Minecraft, and I've been doing a lot of mining, just resource gathering, and which brought me sort of to, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't be playing survival, because, I spend a fair amount of time just getting the resources, and I guess that's technically playing the game, and I do sort of enjoy it, but I also feel like, there's building projects that I want to do, and I could be a lot further along on them if I didn't have to harvest the resources. So
I've thought about that myself, and I've come to a conclusion on it, for myself at least. What I do manage to get done has more weight and more meaning to me, that all this stuff took so much effort to come together than if I just okay, I want this block, blink, 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 all done.
Yeah, that's true. I think I have the same. I think I may have expressed this on the podcast before. My theory on the cost of things in Minecraft, in that it's very cheap to get lots and lots of dirt blocks. I mean, that's not hard to dig up.
What's hard is finding a spot to store all of them if you don't want to just chuck them and get rid of them. Yeah,
if you want to, store up boxes and boxes full of it.
Become a hoarder. I'm a dirt hoarder.
But basically what survival does is it is kind of, in a way, it's creative mode, because it doesn't take much more to place a block than just, click. All you have to do to place blocks is, okay, I have a block, I place it. You don't have to, I don't know, because building things in real life is pretty difficult.
Takes a lot of effort and work. I've done construction before.
You want to build a 10-foot tall brick wall, forget about just plock, plock, plock.
Well, mind you, the brick walls there effectively come pre-assembled. So it would be going to Home Hardware or something and buying the pre-made stuff and then just putting it down and, and making sure well, I guess what those stuff that they have over there is for little gardening stuff. So you put the dirt up to the edge and then you put your next layer down, put the dirt up to the edge. And so, it's not that hard when it effectively comes pre-assembled, but... it still doesn't take that little time.
Yeah. So, and my thought on that is that basically the only thing survival does is it makes it so that a dirt block has a different cost than, say like a diamond block or, wool or something, like a colored wool.
I do love my emerald blocks.
Yeah, and they're rare, so that makes it, there's a differentiate. So when you're actually building, you're building your structure, your castle or whatever, you don't just make the walls out of diamond because you don't have diamond.
You could, but it's going to take you a lot of mining. You're going to effectively have to get rid of a few layers in the underground and just completely swipe the entire zone.
Yeah, so in Minecraft, when different things cost different amounts of effort, basically, to get,
they mean
more. But sort of the result in that is me spending hours and hours just underground, just mining, looking for diamonds, looking for coal and turning it into coal blocks because I would like to have lots of coal blocks.
Maybe you should try what I wind up doing, is that I'm trying to backfill in all the tunnels going out and about, because I want to make that wonderful little monster spawner, and that doesn't work quite so well when they have other areas they can spawn.
Yeah.
So what I wind up doing is I'm just adventuring through all these caves, putting down more torches, and cleaning up and putting blocks and backfilling in. And I've found diamonds. I've found lava. I've found all sorts of wonderful little things.
Oh, so you finally found diamonds in your Minecraft?
Yeah. Turns out it was just next to where I found my slime monster.
Oh, yeah.
So, just by going about and just... Because, oh my god, all these tunnels, they're just feeding back on each other, and they're going around, and I'm like... I get somewhat lost in there, but it's like, well, I know there's torches, so I'll find my way out eventually, but there's so much area, no matter how many stone blocks I backfill in, it seems like the tunnels are breeding, Josh. Every one I fill up, the two more of them wind up breeding a new one out. It's getting creepy.
Yeah, well, Minecraft has a lot of tunnels, a lot of caves. That's sort of intentional. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'd be happier if there weren't so many dang tunnels, because they just keep going and going and going. I'm like, no, I want to get going on other stuff. I don't want to have to spend all this time, slowly backfilling up, tunnels, because I want a good monster spawner.
Yeah, I've not ever had the impulse to even fill in one cave. Like, that's just too... Maybe I should try it just to see how much I like it. But yeah,
maybe I should lower my standards and just start using all those dirt blocks I've got to fill in.
Do you fill it in with stone?
Yeah, I actually take all the cobblestone I've got, I smelt it down for the experience, and then I just put regular stone in.
Yeah.
It gets me the levels so that I can wind up doing the occasional enchanting on my items and see what I get. I'm having fun with that, so... Mm-hmm. But it takes so long and so many trees to turn to charcoal so I can... Smelting doesn't seem the right word for turning cobblestone into stone. Solidification?
Yeah, I don't know. Cooking, I guess.
Yeah, okay. It takes so long to cook all the brick I need. I may have to make a room just for, like cooking all this brick all up at once. Yeah.
Well, my Minecraft world has several, because I've moved around it so much, and I have different little bases here and there. So there are several places where I've got, basically a wall of furnaces set up.
Oh. And you make sure to clean each one out before you go on to the next area, or do you have, a hidden, oh, hey, it's like Christmas, look what I've got here?
It is. At this point, the amount I've played that one world, it's kind of like Christmas every once in a while. Because I will discover... I try to keep, my main stuff, diamonds, emeralds, and stuff, sort of in a central location.
The really rare stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I do have some areas in the world where it's like, oh, I forgot I stashed 5 diamonds here or whatever, because sometimes you're building a project and it needs a lot of tools.
I come across this, but you don't really need it that much, so you just put it away and you focus on the task at hand, and then you go elsewhere.
Yeah. But I'd say I'm actually surprisingly good at centralizing my resources, bringing all the junk back to the... Because I guess in Minecraft I'm a real hoarder. You know how people in Minecraft, they will make a cactus garbage disposal or a lava garbage disposal? Yes. I do not. I've never made a garbage disposal. I've always kept every seed... Well... Every once in a while, I have to. I absolutely painfully have to throw away some seeds or something.
What, man? No, man. Just feed some chickens.
Well, that could work, because then I can always come back to that area and there'll be more chickens. So. Exactly. But yeah, basically, I just keep everything, and I have my main wheat farming area has just 3 or 4 boxes just full of seeds, which I'm never going to use. So
just 3 or 4 boxes, eh?
Yeah,
I've
double
got
boxes.
chickens galore because I've been using up my seeds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down to 2 boxes, and I don't think I'm ever going to naturally clear away any, random grass just for fear of getting more seeds.
Yeah.
I've got so many chickens, I've got more eggs than I know what to do with. I'm only breeding the chickens so I can sell, like, mass piles of raw chicken to the villagers for, emeralds. And I may have to start weeding out some of the villagers just so that I can get new villagers, so that I can trade more chickens, so I can get more blocks and repeat. It's a horrible, vicious cycle. It's Minecraft.
Yeah.
On the other hand, my little town's central well is going to look just absolutely amazing with a nice little ring of emerald blocks around it.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
Artistic style.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that covers basically what I've been doing. I did a little bit of coding too, but it's just repeating my old stuff, trying to update it, so not too much going on there, just old.
No fascinating insights as to the person you were when you first coded?
No, not really.
Because I always get the same impulse whenever I go back over old code. I'm like, why did I do it this way? And was I insane at the time?
Yeah, the first question I ask when I look at my old stuff is, okay, can I copy and paste this? Can this be a shortcut? Because otherwise, you have to rewrite it all. But,
occasionally I'll look at my stuff and I'm like, okay, what was I trying to do here? This is so convoluted. And then it occurs to me, I can remember back then, and I remember being really stumped at this until maybe I'm getting better, or maybe I was just stressed out too much the first time. It's like, I completely missed the obvious solution. Instead of these 20 lines of code, it's bip, 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 done. So either I vastly improve with time, or I stress myself out and get stupid and or crazy. And that's what I learned from my old code.
Oh, another simulated thing that I was doing this week was improv classes started again. So I've been going to those. One was just this afternoon, just before coming here.
Oh.
So yeah, that was fun. I think I need to. What do I need to do? I need to loosen up on those, I think, a little bit, because I was kind of freezing up a little bit and not. So
you're saying you need like a shot of tequila before you start?
Maybe I should try that. I'm not sure. I don't think a lot of.
Start off small. Just open up the bottle.
Yeah, smell it.
Inhale the bouquet, close it, see what that does for you.
Well, I was thinking maybe I should try and go for a Robin Williams type of thing, because he does he just jumps from character to character. He's so fast.
Mind you, he did not develop that overnight. That is an end product, what you're seeing. To become Robin Williams-esque, you need to invest the time.
I think so. And I think improvisation is a skill he has. And that's the thing that I sort of am learning / believe, that improv it's both. It's a little bit of innate talent, but it's also just skill and practice and something you learn how to do better.
Well, I've also noticed from his stand-up routines, the nice classic stuff I'm sure anyone can find online these days. He's also sprinkles a lot of his free association stuff with knowledge base. Like he was, I'll say is, but because some of the stuff is like 20, 30 years old. He at least was very knowledgeable about the politics and what was going on for current events of its day, and so he was able to go back and forth on those topics and then tie them all together in a weird, crazy situation where everything goes together as one. And so you can say that improv is not just the skill you have, but it's making sure you know enough about the world around you that you can find this association to bring it, all together with.
Well, yeah, I guess it helps to just, watch a lot of TV, which, or in my case, YouTube or podcasts and whatever, just sort of absorb whatever you can and regurgitate it, basically. Yeah.
And you know what? That's what I try and do with everything I watch. It's not just passive watching. I'm looking at it, I'm studying it, I'm learning from it.
Yeah.
So good improv means don't be a passive couch potato. You got to really watch what you're watching.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm hoping that it'll make me more. Well, I don't know if this podcast requires. I mean, we're not scripted right now, but
we have a general framework of what we do. But
I'm hoping that it makes this what we're doing right now even better. I'm sure
it allows you to switch up quicker and easier, and you're a little bit more wild with the tangents we go on. And that reminds me.
We'll see how that works. Although, anyways, we should talk about what you've been up to.
Well, I managed to watch a very good movie which ties into last week's iteration.
Okay, yeah.
We were talking last week about non-cursed cursed things, where the curse really only exists in the minds of the people who are interacting with it.
Yeah.
And I managed to watch the Hammer horror film, The Shadow of the Cat. So I'll spoil the beginning for you, but nothing that really doesn't, get shown for you in the first 5 minutes. A nice old lady is in a wonderful mansion with her cat. And she gets killed by her husband, the butler, and the maid.
All of them together.
Well, the butler's the one that really, beats her unconscious, but then they all take her out, her body out to the back and bury her in the bog behind the palatial estate.
Right.
The cat sees all of this, and because the cat very much liked the old lady, the cat now does not like these three people. And so they wind up really getting stressed out over they got to get rid of the cat. Because, the cat is... Okay, the cat's a witness, but it's not like the cat's going to testify on the stand or anything. But the cat is basically... a bit of a mixed metaphor here. But the cat is hounding them.
The cat hound.
Well, that's the thing is the cat's meowing and sneaking in, and they're trying to find it, and the cat's meowing, and then it's jumping out, and it winds up scratching the butler when he falls asleep, in a chair, and just wonderful cat-based sort of stuff, the horror bit where it's is that the monster behind the door? You open up and no, it's not Dracula that comes out at you, it's just a cat. In this case, the cat is actually the scary thing coming out at you. If it was like a Dracula dummy falling down from a Christmas thing, that would have been the false scare.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a nice reversal that way.
Yeah.
But the cat was just a cat. The cat was not actually out to kill, not out for revenge. It did want to hurt the people that killed its owner.
Okay.
But it was just being a cat. The lady's favorite niece comes in after she learns about the disappearance, because, the officials haven't found a corpse or anything. She comes in. The cat's very nice to her, just as the cat has always been, so she's petting it. But, anyone else, any of these three evil people come in, cat howls, hisses, and runs off.
Huh.
And so, by and large, the cat manages to kill the three people there, plus the two others that wind up coming in from the family. It's a bit of a family of ne'er-do-wells.
Is it almost like a cat Home Alone or something?
Well, not quite. Home Alone, there was a lot of stuff set up. In this case, they managed to catch the cat, put the cat in a bag, and then the butler goes off into the back bog to just basically drown the cat, because they're British and crazy, and apparently that's what crazy British people do, is drown cats, right, in a bag.
Apologies to our British listeners. I'm sure you're very kind to cats.
Well, unless you're insane, in which case I guess all bets are off. But, he goes running off, and, sure enough, because it's boggy, wetland there, he winds up slipping, tripping, cat's out of the bag. Literally in this case, not just a turn of phrase.
Right.
And so he's running around trying to catch the cat, because, dude, if he comes back and says, sorry, the cat got out, he is just going to get hit, he's just going to get smacked by everyone, because they've gone through a lot of effort to get this darn cat, caught.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's chasing the cat, and the cat winds up going, over a log sort of thing, and he's chasing it, and he slips on the log, falls into the bog, and he winds up drowning. Because, quicksand, bog type stuff going on there.
Okay, yeah, Hollywood.
Well, that, and, I guess he wasn't a good swimmer, sort of thing. Yeah. But, he winds up, down he goes as the cat watches him sink in and die.
Mm-hmm.
The maid, the cat winds up, it's like she's, all nervous. She's a nervous wreck. This whole thing's really getting to her more than anyone else, and she's, having panic attacks. And she's, walking around on, the second story. Well, no, actually, it's British, so I guess it'd be the first story, because they have the ground floor difference thing? No, second story for them, because they do their first, second story different than ground floor, first floor. But whatever.
Depends.
The cat jumps off of like a cabinet and winds up spooking her, and she falls down a flight of stairs, breaks her neck, and dies.
Okay, yeah.
Did the cat try and kill her, or did the cat just want to lash out at her? The cat's just a cat. But for all intents and purposes, this cat is very cursed. This cat is out to kill within the minds of the guilty parties.
Okay, yep.
In fact, the man, the killer husband, winds up, recruiting his brother and his nephew to come in and help capture the cat for, like a share of the will, and all the vast estate inherited. The nephew brings his wife, and the wife is the only one that manages to survive out of this evil crew because, she basically says, you know what? People are dying. This cat is related. I just want to kind of get out of here with my life. I don't care about all this wonderful spending money. I just kind of want to, live to spend any money later on. And so, her cautiousness and unwillingness to try and kill a cat means she doesn't get killed. She doesn't have the true guilty conscience, the murder mentality going on.
Interesting.
Might also be because she's female, and this was like a black and white horror thing, so, women are inherently innocent. I don't know. That might be a topic for another time.
Maybe. I suppose, horror movies do that sort of moralizing in that, the evil people seem to get killed, which is...
Well, in this case, the fact that they were evil people and, and they had killed drove them to such a frenzy. I mean, like the evil murderous husband, he had what I like to term in horror movies a chicken heart, whereby any large jump sort of thing can wind up causing a heart attack, despite the fact it's not quite that simple in real life. If that was that true, I mean, these sorts of people would not be, allowed out of certain areas just for their own mental and physical safety.
I think you hear about people who have to stay inside because, for various health reasons, but a weak heart might be one of them.
But in this case, it's the sort of thing where, the cat's gone down in the basement, so he closes the door behind, and he's got, a fire poker, and he's getting ready to kill the cat, and he works himself up into such a frenzy because he hears the cat over here, and he goes over, oh, no, the cat's over here, no, wait, that was just a rat, ooh, and he works himself up into such a frenzy that when the cat jumps out at him, he has a heart attack. And he winds up spending the rest of the movie bedridden, and winds up being that the cat, makes its way in when he's sleeping, crawls up onto his chest, and he wakes up, and there is the cat, in the old superstitious sort of ways, the cat is there stealing his breath away, and he winds up having another heart attack. He is dead out.
Yeah.
Cat killed by virtue of a heart attack, right? Was the cat really cursed? No, the man just worked himself up into such a frenzy, he induced his own heart attack. Like, if you woke up and there's a cat on your chest...
I'd be like, oh, kitty.
Exactly. You would be like, the cat's stealing my soul while I sleep. No. Because you don't have a guilty conscience.
Unless it was like a cougar or something, I guess. That might be a little scary.
In which case, you'd probably be best off to still play it fairly calm. The last thing you want to do is scream at a cougar while it's on your chest, because that's your face within clawing distance.
Yeah.
So
actually, a cougar, I could probably.
It is
play
the
with
cat
a
cougar we are talking about here. We're not talking about the 40-year-old lady that's roaming for a young man.
No, I think adult men can play with cougar a cougar mountain lion. Fairly safely, if they were... I'm not suggesting this, but...
If it's domesticated enough to come into your house and not try and eat you while you're asleep, I think you've got as favorable odds as you could hope for in this sort of situation.
Yeah. Well, whereas I'd expect a lion or a tiger to be a bit more dangerous and scary.
You know what's actually more dangerous than lions or tigers?
No.
Monkeys.
Oh.
They know how to break in, they will steal your stuff, and if they get caught, they will throw things at you. And not just their feces, things that can really, really hurt you.
Like your paperweights? Or
anything that ain't nailed down, they are willing to toss that at you. They are like the worst ninjas in history.
I'd like to see a movie. I think in Jumanji, that the monkeys threw knives at the protagonist.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
That's a great movie. I recommend everybody get a chance to see that. And if you already have... try and see it again. See if it's on Netflix for free for you.
Well, I can't say I loved the movie. Back to Robin Williams again. Yeah. Back to Robin Williams again.
In the long run, it always comes back to Robin Williams.
But I did. It's okay. Yeah, it's an okay movie, and it's got funny parts like monkeys throwing knives.
Hey man, they were also stealing cars and using shotguns and stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of monkey-based fun there, but also some decent adventure and some interesting timeline plot things to really sit down and think about afterwards.
Yeah, it's a time travel movie,
technically there is time travel going on, or at least time rewinding.
Some kind of time
manipulation.
Yeah.
So, watch that in Groundhog's Day, and just really sit down and just, blow your mind with your own thoughts as you sit there and think.
Maybe they're the same universe.
Oh.
Maybe in Groundhog's Day there was Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Groundhog's
Day.
Groundhog Day. I think it's just one groundhog, isn't it?
Well, it's only the one there. But yeah.
Okay.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Maybe there was a board game that was secretly open under his bed or something that caused that to happen.
Ah. But okay, here's the thing. Before the game started playing, the board was ripped or something like that, and that's why it's not playing through properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
And
so then in the end it wasn't him, finally meeting his soulmate, and consummating love with her that wound up breaking it. It's they just bashed the game with the bed spring so hard that the game busted completely. Okay. He's able to go on to the next day.
There we go. We solved that riddle.
You know what? I kind of like that as an answer. That's wonderfully weird enough. I'm willing to accept it as, but fanon.
And did they ever? They must have sold a version of Jumanji that you could actually buy, a game.
Yeah. It wasn't moving pieces or anything. Although they could probably get away with that for a higher-end collective set. They also did have a spiritual sequel, In Space.
Oh yeah, the space one, Xanthabar or something.
Xanthura.
Xanthura?
Something like that. I've only gotten a chance to see the last half hour of it. I did not catch it in the theaters. Although if I ever see it on TV, I will try and make the effort, because it seems like, from what I saw, decent potential for at least an enjoyable film, if not an actual good film.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably try and watch it at some point. Yeah.
But yes, back away from the tangents there. I liked the Hammer horror film. The cat was just a cat. Uh-huh. It wasn't actually accursed, and it was so well written and beautifully done that I was able to see it both as a cursed cat from the perspective of the guilty parties, and dude, it's just a cat from the perspective of the innocent parties.
Yeah, so there's two ways to sort of think about it.
Also, it was such a British film, I actually had to have tea while watching it.
Like tea the drink?
Yes.
Or tea the meal? I
had tea the drink. I know. Unfortunately, we only ever have winter tea here for when it gets nice and cold. So it didn't work well with the fresh summer it is out here right now.
I think British people drink tea during the summer, don't they?
But there are winter teas and summer teas, sort of thing.
Oh.
For instance, this was an apple cinnamon tea, and it was I had it very warm, so it
that's
didn't
like a Christmas time kind of
deal.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I actually found the sharp nature of the cinnamon works very well when watching A Tale of Revenge. And so it worked out very well for me in the end, even if I got a slightly burnt tongue from the whole thing.
So you had a real British experience. Watched a movie about British people and drank some tea.
Yeah, it was a very nice night. Although, that said, that's not all that was happening to me this week. This week, a new Marvel game came out for Facebook, and it has really blown my conceptions of what a Facebook game is, because it plays very much like XCOM.
Oh, so you get that wish that you sort of had for more.
For more stuff, in XCOM. And in this case, it's stuff like Tony Stark's battle armor, and fun things like, She-Hulk being able to knock people around and stun and all this stuff. I'm saving up for Thor right now, because the concept of having a Norse god just beat the smackdown on all sorts of mooks, it just seems wonderful to me. But I'm really surprised this is a free-to-play Facebook game, because it feels much more like something you wind up paying $10, $15, $20, $30 for and installing on your computer. And so
I see.
I must admit I'm quite changed mind as to what constitutes just a Facebook game. That said, I'm currently under the protection against PvP, and that's going to expire about midnight tonight. And so I might become the victim of random assaults within the game.
Yeah, from other players, human players?
From other players, yeah. It goes like you send your 4 heroes in, and if you can trash all of the other base within a certain amount of time, you get a free spin for, points.
Oh, wow.
And
so it's really incentivized.
It costs some energy sort of thing. As it works out with me right now, I don't think I'm going to be doing much for PvP. I might attack a derelict base. Like, you can see on the overworld map, it's like, oh, this person only has... Well, there's like, your base is split into like 8 parts.
Okay.
It's like, oh, this person only has like 2 out of their 8, and he's only level 2, so he probably hasn't played much more than just the basic startup of the game. So I think I can attack him and be fairly conscience-free, as opposed to, that guy's got everything, he's about the same level as me, he's an active player, I can almost guarantee it.
Do you get a bigger reward for trashing a more developed base?
More developed? No. Higher level means you're going to get more resources, because it's not just the free win. For every subsection of the base you wind up trashing, you get some of their resources. They call it Isotope 8 or Refined ISO. I'm just calling it RISO right now.
Okay.
Refined ISO. And silver, which is what you use to spend on, like training up skills and people and spending on enhancing your base and stuff.
Interesting.
So if you trash a higher level person's base, which is fully possible, you could get like tens of thousands of silver and like hundreds, if not thousands, of RISO stuff. But, I don't see the desire to do that myself, and I'm hoping it's not going to impact me. But I am going to be watching this very carefully. I'm going to be watching it as the player to see how much... Is this really bad? Because I'm looking at the forums, because it's a Playdom game, and they got the forums for it.
Okay, yeah.
Is this as bad as the people in the forums are claiming, or is it just like the people that are getting the absolute worst going to the forums to complain? Everyone else is having a bit of a better time. So, knock on wood on that, I don't have such a bad time. But
right.
If it is that bad a time, I might wind up for at least a little while, stop being a player, and then I'll just pay attention as a spectator to see how Playdom changes the nature of the game to respond to the numerous complaints about how their PvP system goes.
Okay, yeah.
So I will enjoy watching it, from the perspective of like a game designer to see how do they change. Was this a really as bad idea as some people are claiming, or is it just need a little tweak to make things a little easier?
Yeah, because I would call something like that, I would call it almost griefing, right?
Well, that's what some people are complaining on the forums I've seen is, this one guy, he's like 30 levels lower than me, because some people have been through the beta and they're high up level.
Yeah.
He's 30 levels lower than me, he can't do much more than destroy 1 or 2 sections, so he doesn't get the free spin, because there's a time limit. You can't just destroy at your leisure. You got to do this within like 7 minutes or so.
All right, yeah.
So he doesn't get that, but he keeps trying time and time. And I've gone back and I've destroyed his base. I've burned it to the ground, man. Slash and burn. And and he still keeps coming after me, and he's not getting anywhere near what I'm getting off him. But he keeps trying. He keeps trying. What's going on? Mm-hmm. So apparently some people just like to attack even when they're not winning the points, the game, whatever.
Well, I've done that in World of Warcraft, for example. Like I once flagged myself for PvP with a level like 14 character in, I think it was in the Barrens.
Oof.
Can't remember which side. I think I was Horde side, and the Alliance were basically attacking the Crossroads.
They're always attacking the Crossroads. Oh.
But like I think I must have spent a couple hours doing this, and then eventually I got tired. But my thought was that I would try and make them more tired, because I would just respawn every time I could. I would respawn there, flagged for PvP, and start like attacking them. And
you're basically a mosquito to them.
Yeah.
They'd have max level 60, 70, 80.
Exactly, and they'd be like, oh, 1 spell, and then I'm dead. And then I wait to respawn again, and then I come back and attack them.
Thank goodness your items don't degrade when you're dead from PvP, eh?
Yeah.
You could have had to shell out a pretty copper on that.
Although, being 14th level, it's like, oh, your items are all broken? Well...
Just go do a few quests, get some new ones.
Get new ones, yeah.
So, not bad. But yes, I'm really intrigued to see whether or not it will need a tweak. Apparently, if you get your entire base trashed, you get you have to put up a defensive PvP shield for 24 hours.
Okay.
But I will note some of the upgrades apparently for your base take longer than 24 hours. And if that part of the base gets destroyed, the rebuild counter resets. So it might be that you won't be able to complete this one base upgrade because your shield isn't lasting long enough to allow it to finish upgrading before it gets burnt again.
That's interesting. Well, I think like
so. Will they just tweak that so that it pauses, and then when you upgrade your base sort of thing to non-burnt status, the countdown resumes from there? Is that all they're going to do? Let's find out.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
This is where I will watch and I will learn and observe and think about that for anything future-wise I wind up doing.
Yeah. I think my gut preference is always to sort of guide gameplay rather than just say, here's a 24-hour shield. I think I've talked about this before because that's a very a wall. It's literally a shield. It's a hammer solution when sometimes you need a rapier. Well, yeah, and one of the things you could do is somehow disincentivize or make it sort of so that players only, it's not that advantageous to attack a base that's rebuilding or something like that, or you don't get your reward from it or something
that's the thing, is a lot of these bases that people are saying is the people attacking them aren't completing it. They're not getting the free spin. They're just using up a lot of energy and time to get something that's... one part of the base makes refined isotopes. And so, every 30 minutes, it fills up. So every, twice an hour, you can click it and get your own. And you want more, upgrade it to the next level, and it gets more for you. Silver, not that hard to come by. You can replay missions over again. So I've been replaying mission 1-3 for the first two parts. And the first part of that is basically, send out 3 flight missions and get 1,000 silver for that. And I have... that'd be a 3-minute thing. So I'll send them out for 3 minutes. I'll alt-tab over to something. I'll read a little news article on the CBC News website. Come on back. Oh, hey, they're all back. There's 1,000 gold for me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Repeat as necessary and get your fat loots.
Now, this game, too, the world that it's set in, there's the objectives, some of the missions and stuff, are sort of against NPCs and sort of,
I haven't seen any of that myself. The purpose is that you're in the Savage Land, the wonderful tropical oasis at the heart of the Antarctic area.
So are most quests then, versus other PCs?
No, there's little aim bases. So you get to go to a little aim base and beat up the scientists there. And I wish I could beat up the scientists and take their weapons. They got one guy who's got a triangular blade scalpel that he winds up using. He's got moves like, invasive surgery.
Sweet.
And he winds up just basically slicing everyone around him sort of thing. It's like, I want that weapon. But the stats for generic agents are just horrible compared to that of the heroes. As I suppose I guess they're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I can't actually steal their stuff. Apparently I beat them up, but I leave them. Or I hand that over as evidence. I don't get to keep it for myself as a trophy. I'm like, bah! I'm able to get that game in the original Marvel Avengers Alliance. I know exactly which one. That's the Energy Fist right there. He's wearing 2 Energy Fists, and I want them.
So are they even the same, art, sprites and everything? Or?
Pretty much.
same art assets and everything. You just can't get it.
Well, I can't get it yet. I don't know if they'll wind up putting it in the game. Right now, they've only got the first mission out. Honestly, I've only gone halfway through the first mission's assignments. I'm going back to level up my guys and all that. And I want to keep running because I want Thor. I want the Norse god of kicking arse to be on my team.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be fun. Although I hear Hulk is doing a lot of fun too. But I don't want 190-point hero at a time. I'm only getting so many points per hour.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm digging it.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because I hear the complaint about not being able to get what the enemies have, and a lot of video games that comes up repeatedly when there's a bad guy who has a thing that you're like, oh, I want that, and you kill them and you can't have it. I remember the witch's hat in Minecraft, for example.
Oh yes.
That's the example I remember most recently.
Well, I remember one guy I keep killing because as I repeat the 2 missions through, it's like, okay, the Viper doesn't drop her wonderful spitting Viper guns. I'm like, okay, whatever. She'll probably be doing that at some point down the road or something. It's just like a random chance to pick up. But one of the guys has got the Batstone, submachine gun sort of, RPG thing. I want that. I want that so bad. I don't care that the stats on my agent suck wind. I want it. I've got an agent called Vasquez. I want to save up the points to switch the outfit over to a blaster from instead of the generic style, and so that way, like it'll be Vasquez from the Aliens movie.
Oh yeah,
and it'll be so awesome. I'll just have to ignore the fact that all agents are generic males, which is one of the other things people are talking about. It's like I kind of like the agents, even though their stats are bad. Could we actually have the chance to name them instead of them being 0001 and then with a random surname? That sounds pretty good. I mean, have a little fun with that. Or maybe unlock the potential for an elite agent where you have the option for doing something like, okay, this one will be female, this way do a little stat change for, a face or thing, so they have decent stats but can wear the generic agent weapons.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, that's another thing about game design that I like to think about sometimes, is that you can go kind of either way. You can go with like extremely sort of detailed and have all those little things like everybody has a name or something like that. But you can also make the choice not to do that. But if you're not going to do that, like you need some sort of like, it needs to look like it's on purpose, kind of.
So if like the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents all looked alike because they were S.H.I.E.L.D. clone agents.
Sure, yeah.
Because one of the plot lines is I can recruit Claw. He is a being of like living sound, and he's usually a villain. He fights the Fantastic Four. He fights the Black Panther. He fights basically any hero that tries to get in his way. But he becomes recruitable. You can hire him onto your team. Because, I mean, realities are converging onto our Earth, and S.H.I.E.L.D. needs about as much help as possible. They are stretched very, very thin. So yeah, they're willing to, get Doom on Dr. Doom on their side, Loki on their side. Any villain that's willing to help them out, they will willingly, put in their roster, provided, of course, you've got the command points for them. They're 90 points apiece, sometimes 48 for the cheaper ones. But yeah, I mean, you can recruit the enemy sort of thing in some cases, and so I could definitely see them saying, well, we're so stretched out, we've got these temporary clone people we're going to have for generic agents, and that's why they all look exactly alike, and you can't change them. We just give them different surnames, so that's how we can tell them apart. Otherwise, they're clone troopers, and congratulations, we are now the dark side of the Force. Oh, well.
Or the other way to do it is sort of the Dwarf Fortress where, well, of course the dwarves have names, but I guess like dogs and cats and cows are just, the letter D. That's any dog.
If the D is brown, it's a dog.
Oh, okay.
And
brown
lowercase, if the D is uppercase and green, it's a dragon.
Okay.
Don't confuse the two. That could spend the end of your fortress.
Really?
Yeah, if you don't close the front gate.
If a dragon comes by, yeah.
Well, if you let the dragon come in thinking it's like a dog or a donkey or something, whoops! It's like shutting the gate after the horse has left the barn, now isn't it?
Now I want to play some more Dwarf Fortress just so I can see what happens if a dragon gets in.
Oh, well, it doesn't need to be a dragon. You can just dig down to the caverns and let the forgotten beasts of the depths come up. Each one different, unique, and sometimes completely broken. This creature has one body part, so it cannot be decapitated. It is made out of a metal that cannot be sundered by any of the weapons that you can make. And just for fun, everywhere it goes, it leaves a trail of slime that will melt your dwarves. Melt anything that really comes in contact with it. Have fun killing it. I won't spoil how you do that sort of thing. I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. It's more fun that way.
No, hey, I'm all for that. Sorry.
But yes, so I could definitely buy the story of like the clone agent sort of thing. It's like we're doing this only in down here in the the Savage Land, because we know if we do this out in public, people will freak in America. You're cloning soldiers. What are you doing? Oh, that's horrible. But down here in the Savage Land, we're giving this a trial run. That's why they all look alike.
Yep.
I could buy that story. That's all I really ask for is at least a decent cover. Just come up with it. Although, knock on wood again, that they'll pay attention and they'll change things. People are expressing interest in wanting something more than an agent with low stats and some moderate weapons. Because there are a lot of weapons they could take from the original Marvel Avengers Alliance that could have a lot of fun on a tactical-based game board sort of thing as is working here. And I would like to see that. I'm willing to eventually spend the command points, the silver pieces, the rhizo, whatever they're going to wind up putting for it, so long as it's not gold bars. Those are the ones you have to spend real money on. But so long as it's not that, I'm willing to give it a try and have some fun with it. But it'd be better if I had an elite agent with stats that were somewhat comparable. Like maybe, hey, you defeat, like Act 3, for all the missions there. Your reward is an elite agent that's got stats comparable to a hero. You can, switch them up for whatever class they want and get the wonderful stuff out there. Because the original Marvel one, your agent is in the field. Your agent is always there, except under extraordinary circumstances. And so a lot of people are saying it feels a little weird not having the me in there. Like, I'm used to this agent being me.
Oh, yeah.
This is Agent Ryan. I don't call myself that. I'm Agent Funkengroove.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because why be me when I can have just an awesomer name, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I'm enjoying that sort of thing. But it would be nice if I had, an agent in the field to be me alongside my favorite Marvel heroes, doing the good fight and kicking arse. But time will see, and I will, until then, thoroughly enjoy watching how things change, because it just got out of the I guess it's alpha, because all Facebook games are technically a beta. That way they can do something like reset if things get critically wrong, and no one has to say, I want my money back. It's like, sorry, it was a beta. You knew this might happen. It's a legal defense mechanism. But until then, I will definitely enjoy watching as it changes, because I'm there on day one of of open release, see the complaints, see the changes, and I get to watch as it moves and evolves and grows, like a tree or a twisting snake or something, depending on how you perceive a Facebook game. So that's been my week. Is much learning, much watching, much enjoyment.
Okay, well, cool.
And more things I want now in XCOM.
Cool. So we're ready to move on to a main topic.
Oh, yeah. I believe you've come up with the main topic this week.
I wanted to talk about exile and banishment in role-playing games and storytelling and, all of our, all the things that we discuss. So, sort of, what happens when the good guy gets exiled? And should you...
Or the bad guy, because, there's a lot of times when I've seen the storyline, it's like, and then they banished him forever. It's like, he killed 1,000 people. Couldn't you have just, hanged him like you do with all the normal criminals? This guy here only robbed, and stabbed someone, and yet he's still on the gallows when the heroes enter, the village. Why did this guy just get banished? What political connections does he have? Where are the photos for what does he have?
Well, and sometimes it's just the case that the leaders are just compassionate, or they don't have enough evidence sometimes.
I hate to bust this to you, but a lot of evidence was not even a requirement for medieval justice.
Well, that's possible.
We think you're really guilty on this, therefore, we will have you drawn and quartered. Your head will be severed from the body. We will put that severed head on top of a pike on display for anyone who enters town. It'll be through the west gate because we know you hate that one the most.
That works if you have somebody that's, if you have a king or somebody that's very powerful and very influential. But if you have, sort of, what do you call it, like an oligarchy or a rule by nobles, or where...
That just means they get to be more vicious in concert. Because remember the motto of Anonymous: no one is more crueler than everyone.
Well, that's possible. Now, I'm not saying that's impossible, but also what can happen with nobles is, say, there's a group of 12 noble families or whatever, and one noble family sort of has alliances with 6 or 7 of the other ones, sort of to varying degrees, and then, a prominent member of noble family X
does a Jack the Ripper sort of thing.
Yeah, they do something bad or something that the rest of the realm doesn't approve of. So technically they have to be gotten rid of, but they also have connections to 7 other families who are like, well, kind of, we don't want you to. That would look bad because we would not look like we were protecting our allies. So they're like, okay, fine, solve the problem, no worries. banishment.
See this boat? You get on it and you never come back.
Yeah, and that's pretty common.
And that's how Australia was formed.
Australia was more of the prison sort of modern.
Which always blew my mind, because, I mean, like, when you think about going out on a nice, great vacation, Australia's on the list. It's like, dude, the wonderful beaches of Australia. And then to think that all the people, like, who thinks about going to England for the great weather? And yet all these people in England were saying, you're a horrible criminal, we shall banish you to Australia. That's basically like saying, you get to go to Club Med and you don't get to come back. Ever. You got to stay at the resort hotel.
Oh, don't send me to Australia, no. Although
No, the wonderful
dangerous.
well, the northern part is you go onto either the coast. It's not a bad area, the west and east coast there. Even the south coast with its wonderful, beaches down there, pretty good.
They still have all horrible animals that will kill you.
Well, that's more towards the northern jungle type area there. But yeah, by and large, it's a great place for weather, wonderful nature. What they should have done is just said all the criminals have to stay in England, everyone else moves to Australia.
Yeah.
But no, they did it the wrong way around because they couldn't transport their buildings yet. And they'd say, well, look at Castle Windsor. It's really a nice place. I don't want to leave this in the hands of criminals. We can't ship this. They got to go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, okay. So also, I was thinking of as banishment as part of the hero's arc, or the story of,
It does make for a nice, at least start of the story. Why is the hero a wanderer?
Yeah.
He's being forced out from his lands by an injustice and cannot return until he can clear his name.
Yeah, and you have to be careful. I wonder too. If you're the DM at the table and one of your players comes and says, "Okay, I get this great idea. I've been banished from the kingdom," and I guess as a DM you just have to be flexible. But what do you do? I guess you got to do the whole. Sort of give the player what they want, and sort of give them that storyline of
provided
how they get back.
It's not something that's going to impact too bad. It could be like the mythical kingdom of Ramalama Ding Dong. I got cast out from there, and it's high up in the Himalaya, whatever equivalency mountains.
Yeah, and you're never going to see that in the campaign, so it doesn't matter. But if the DM was handed out some kind of world guide or whatever, and the player's like, oh, we're starting this country, but okay, I'll say I'm exiled from that country, and the DM has plans to go to that country, you have to somehow...
Disguise check.
Yeah, I guess you can, of course you can always sneak in, and you don't even need a disguise check because they don't have photographs back then.
Unless what they did was so bad, they're putting up, images.
Drawings, or magical drawings, I suppose. Magical photographs.
I got to imagine that there's got to be somebody out there who's got at least a decent number of ranks in, like a craft skill or profession artist. That's basically what they do for their living. It's like, okay, this is what the guy looks like. There we go. There's a drawing. Now all I have to do is repeat that for 100 times. We send those out. I call it a day. Collect my 10 silver for work.
Yeah, true.
So there's that sort of thing.
The Old West wanted posters, were those normally drawn?
Drawn.
Yeah, charcoal or whatever?
I suppose there's a printing press done.
I guess they could print them, yeah. But those weren't typically photographs. I guess not in the early... In the
1880s, probably 1880s, not.
The wanted posters would be...
It might have been based off a photo they take. This guy's been brought into custody, we have the photo of it, so that way, if we need to do a wanted poster, he's on file. Actually,
I'd like to, I wish I had more, been able to look at archives and stuff, because I wonder if more of them would just simply be a description. Just a written, wanted, Black Bart has, black mustache, may have short hair, or, something like that.
That's the thing, is it's not too hard to either grow your hair out, or chop it short, or just start shaving.
Yeah.
And so that case, doing a facial profile for showing he's got the high cheekbones and a really square jaw sort of thing. That doesn't work too well on a description. Yeah.
Well, I do wonder also though, how many false arrests or how many just kind of vigilantes came in I've got him, kind of bring him into the...
And that's why they had to start making laws against false arrests.
Yeah.
Vigilantism doesn't work as well as superheroes would have you believe.
Oh, and did you ever hear the stories about they do I think it's Crime Stoppers or whatever, they do a reenactment on TV. This is from modern age, like
oh
80s,
yes, I used to
90s.
love watching that sort of stuff.
And they do a reenactment, and then people will call in on the actor who played the robber.
But I saw him on there. It was him. I know it was him. It's like, well, that was the actor portraying it. That's why at the bottom they got to put like reenactment.
I mean, I guess
big letters.
You got to say, good job, citizen. You've done well, but unfortunately.
Now here's the thing: is who's doing the better job? The citizen who's really paying attention to what this guy looks like, or the actor who's managed to fool him into thinking he's the criminal?
I like that. Yeah.
It's like, no. I take it as a compliment. That means I've done my job very well indeed.
Yeah. And I mean, if he's working with the police, I guess they know him, so they're like, yeah, whatever. Do
you suppose that's something they have to wind up putting up in the case, sort of files, like, this guy's wanted for arrest, not to be confused with this man or this man who play him in the Crime Stoppers commercials.
They might have something like that in paperwork or whatever.
I'm pretty sure the people who do the Crime Stoppers have at least, thumbprints and all that on file, so quick scan, no, it's you, okay, you're out.
Yeah, right. As if you could disguise yourself as...
I don't think you can. I don't think that technology exists to disguise your thumbprint or anything.
No, but I wonder, like what if the real criminal was like, gets caught and saw the Crime Stoppers commercial somehow. It's like, no, I'm the actor. They're like, oh yeah, you're right. You look just like him. They let him go.
That's right, I do. Don't arrest me again, or I'll show you what else the guy was convicted of.
Okay.
But yes, I think it makes for a nice backstory for being exiled for the hero, especially when it's a roguish type hero, because it opens up the possibility that they actually did it.
Yeah.
And this is like the heroic atonement.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was just a stupid young kid then. I thought stealing jewelry would be awesome. How was I to know the royal family would get so angry about it? Now, mind you, if you're working with a bit more of a modern mentality going on, them exiling a criminal who's very good at stealing things, well, there's always a use for that sort of person within the government as a proper operative. So you can have that I was exiled be your cover as you're really going to neighboring countries, stealing their wonderful stuff and sending it back to your monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful way to play the campaign, and that way you don't have to worry about too many like jewelry things like overbalancing like the wealth. It's like, no, you got to send it back to your liege. They're going for all 7 parts of the regalia that used to be of the monarch, emperor, whatever it was, and they're going to really snub the noses in it for the neighboring kingdoms.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the minor spoilers here but it's a thing that happens in many shows. But in Game of Thrones, they're like, Jon Snow is trying to...
Jon Snow knows nothing.
He's trying to join with the, what do you call them? The barbarians, I guess they are? Mm-hmm. The freemen or whatever of the north. He's trying to join with them. And then at some point they're like, well, to prove your loyalty, you have to kill another one of your old friends or, your old allies.
I loved this guy. I loved him so much, I'm going to stab him twice in the heart just to make sure it's a quick death.
Yeah.
Totally we were friends. Plus he owed me $20. That's why I look so angry at him. But so did he actually kill a friend, or did he just take someone he hate, called him a friend, and stabbed him good?
He did. He killed one, or actually...
Little spoiler.
Yeah, there is a spoiler. He killed one of the guys.
George R.R. Martin. I don't think somebody dies as a spoiler.
I think the guy basically, I think they were alone in that particular scene, or possibly near the Freemen or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so it's him and the other, I think it's one of the teachers or one of the older members of the, the Watch.
Yes.
So he says to him, or they get into a conversation. You should just watch the show, but they get into a conversation saying, like, basically, I have to kill you now. And he's like, well, I guess you do. And so he's like, kills him, sort of facing him, like a man, kind of. So that's
no
fine.
Backstab, okay.
Yeah. But then later it's like, well, kill this innocent person who's unarmed, and then kill this lady, and then kill somebody else who's sort of unarmed. So it's like, he won't do that. He's too honorable.
Why are you guys so fixated on killing everybody?
Yeah.
Can't I just punch him? I mean, this person's fairly innocent. Can I just like give him 2 black eyes with a single punch?
Although I have heard, and this is further spoilers, I have heard more about Jon Snow. Even though I haven't been watching the new show, I hear that he does some other stuff. But I won't spoil it because I actually don't even know. So he does more of this.
Does he kill 2 people at once this next time? Ooh,
maybe. Yeah, that's funny because he definitely has killed, like both in battle and sort of.
In battle's a bit of a different thing. You walk into a battlefield, you know what your expectations are. Walking down a country road, you don't expect to get stabbed and killed because I was told to by these free men.
Yeah.
So yeah. Killing in battle is completely different.
How did I get? Oh, because the exile. Yeah, he's gone over to the other side or something, like been exiled from his country, so now he has to
make friends with someone new.
And then it just makes his return even harder and more complicated because now he's done this other thing.
Well, if you want, I'll kill the free men who told me to kill the other people.
Yeah.
When are we gonna stop this game? It's up to you, buddy.
The game, exactly.
The game of killing people who pissed you off.
Game of crows.
Yes. But now, how about for the villains? Because that's the bit that always blows my mind. Is when the like a downright despicable villain winds up like, oh no, we banished him to like another realm. Like we found like we've been using this thing as a garbage chute because no one ever comes back, so we just dumped him in there too.
Yeah, well, I don't like it as a lazy method, as just, you know, sort of we can throw them in there and then forget about them because obviously they come back.
Well, see, and that's the thing is they do stuff like I've heard this on a number of occasions for a nice plot device, like we threw him through the portal and he's been in the astral plane, you know, and then it winds up being because the astral plane in D&D you don't age. And depending on some versions of it, you don't like spontaneously age rapidly when you come back.
So he's had lots of time and plenty of space to do experiments and plan his revenge.
Well, that's the thing is, even if nothing else, even if he's just been floating around doing nothing, all he had to do was wait for all his enemies to die, everyone to really forget what a horrible person he was, and then just come on back. And he's as good as he was when they threw him out, but let's say, even, like the elven people that helped throw him out are, still there. They're all old and venerable. They are in no physical condition to fight him a second time. Mm-hmm.
Well, and this reminds me, too, of the whole Lord of the Rings plot, where Sauron is, like, defeated in one age, and then for so many other ages, like, they don't know exactly where he is, but basically, they killed his mortal form, but I guess his spirit form got exiled, basically.
Yeah.
And then slowly sort of rebuilds his power. It comes back.
I always would have liked to heard how he rebuilt his power, because he's just like hanging out with orcs, and then all of a sudden, whoa, I'm strong now. Apparently I spooked enough orcs, and orc spookiness is what gives me my power.
I think it must be something like that, yeah. We might get more information in The Hobbit film 3, because there's a bit more about, the return of the necromancer and the battle against him.
Spoiler alert. He's not just a mortal necromancer.
Yeah, he's the Dark Lord.
He made my wife gasp when she saw the eye sort of thing going on there. So, Sauron. She has a hard time telling which one's which.
She got them mixed up, yeah.
They have very close names, and it's a wonder that Gandalf didn't immediately suspect the one being in league with the others. Like, well, their names are pretty close.
Their names are really, just like, Obama, Osama.
Well, yes,
only
but
one letter different.
This is a Tolkien-esque sort of world where names have deep meaning.
Actually, yeah, if your name is Owen, pretty good chance you're related to Glowin.
Iffer, Boffer, and Bomber.
If your name is Dory, almost certainly your brothers are Ori and Nori.
It's how they do things there. It's a system, it's a style, whatever you want to call it. It has meaning. So yeah, Saruman, maybe you want to keep an eye on both of them, even if one of them is only an eye to keep back on you.
Yeah. In fact, like, it's probably better not to even trust anyone with a lot of power, like even Gandalf, because Gandalf mentions a couple times, like, don't give the ring to me, don't tempt me.
I would use it in an attempt to do good.
Yeah, and then it would turn out bad.
Although really, like, why can't Gandalf turn himself invisible? I mean, he's not just a powerful, wizard. He's technically the Middle-earth equivalent of an angel. He can't just pop himself invisible. That's like beyond his abilities.
Well, it could be, like, because he has to limit himself in order to take mortal form, I believe. So I think he can be hurt, and obviously he got killed by the Balrog. And
but it took a Balrog to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how powerful exactly Gandalf is. I think maybe that was intentionally left a little bit vague. Just either for just the writer's reason of maybe I might want him to do something extraordinary in the book, and I'll just let him, if he needs that power, I'll give it to him.
There's Tolkien. Oh, I've written myself into a pretty bad corner here.
I'll have Gandalf fly.
Gandalf grows to 30 feet tall and starts spitting electricity out of his nostrils.
Yeah, I guess on that side it's sort of not very thematic for Gandalf to be able to do certain things, because there are creatures in the world of the Middle Earth, like the rock giants.
Oh yes, yes.
Like I can imagine they can throw lightning or something like that. Shoot lightning.
Well, heck, all they need to do is huck a few rocks. I mean, the size of them. I mean, there were dwarves trekking on them, not recognizing them as a living creature. They saw them as the mountain itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't need them to have too much more power than the ability to lift huge chunks of rock and whip it, or just wherever the heck they want.
Yeah.
Oh, if only they could have been controlled for the force of good.
Yeah.
The sight on Sauron's giant eye when he sees them, just throwing effectively pebbles in there. There's no hand to rub this out with.
Actually, they're not that different from the Ents in that sense.
The Ents were pretty good, but I mean, those rock giants were freaking huge because they weren't confined by the size of the trees. They were confined by the size of a mountain.
That's true. They're like the equivalent of Ents for mountains, basically.
Yeah.
Although, why didn't the Ents march on Mordor? I guess because they couldn't, sort of, it
was a little too far away, and they have to get really... For them, battle seems to be a really deep, personal sort of thing.
Yeah.
So as seeing the trees they had planted personally go, Mordor hasn't had a single tree in ages. I don't know where they're getting all their energy from to properly build and smelt and use for handles for all this stuff, but they are clearly importing their wood.
Yeah. Well, there might be forests sort of to the east. You always hear about the...
Oh, the Easterlings are bringing them to them then?
Yeah.
Oh,
possibly.
It's a tribute thing then. They bring that to the orcs then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
But there's clearly not a spot where Ents have any personal history for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So did I make the point about if you have an enemy who is immortal, then the only way to get rid of them is exile. There's no other recourse.
Well, here's the thing is, I mean, just look at your Greek histories. You can do a lot more than just say, get the heck out of here, buddy.
I suppose you can chain them to a rock and have birds eat their liver or something.
Every day. Because, let's face it, there's some fun things that you can do with a Ring of Regeneration and torture, provided you have the lack of proper morality to do so. I mean, maybe that's one of the best reasons to have, a person like Hades have an evil stat. A block alignment sort of thing is that he's the person willing to do the torture for the good when the other people are not going to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So does that mean in stuff like the Marvel DC universes, there should be that horrible anti-hero who's willing to do the stuff that, Batman can't kill, because if he starts killing, who knows where he'll stop. And he's like, no, I'm the DC Punisher. I'm going to put, 2 bullets through the brain pan of the Joker, and that way he's not going to kill anybody else. Because you letting him stay alive there, Batman, has meant a lot of deaths and a lot of pain and torture. And, I don't want you to be associated with that, so I am going to kill him for you. Which is, I suppose, where the Red Hood is seemingly going with his plot lines.
Yeah, I suppose there's a place for that. Although, the writers sort of need the Joker to either stay alive or come back just to write more stories about him.
Well, see, here's the fun thing: is that you look at Batman Beyond and the Joker, until the Return of the Joker movie, he's gone, man, he disappeared, and yet you have his legacy living on with all these punks, the Joker's gangs.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so that way you could wind up just having a theme for mooks and all that, more people for Batman to fight. Because let's face it, what kind of person hires on with the Joker? Sure, he's got his Punch and Judy every once in a while, his named mook villains. Mm-hmm. But the more he does something horrible, the less likely it seems that anyone's going to want to be a mook for him. So his disappearance opens up for people that want to seem badder than they are. They adopt his mannerisms, and then Batman can beat up 3 or 4 Jokers in an issue instead of just the one.
Yeah. Well, the Joker, like, you know how scientists sometimes, like, complain about, why are scientists always maligned, like the evil scientists? Why is that, like, our profession doesn't deserve this and to be treated so bad in the comics? Well, how come comedians don't get mad about the Joker?
Because a lot of his jokes really aren't that funny. They're going, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Sure, call him the Joker all you want. I tell jokes to get more people laughing, and I don't have to kill anyone to do it. I don't need any gas enhancement.
Well, give them a gold star.
This humor I tell, it's all natural. I don't need any chemical enhancements.
Yeah.
Drug-free, the comedic way to be, baby. So, yeah, they can call themselves better comedians than he is.
And how come they don't have more, like, just professions as bad guys, like the plumber, or do they have a plumber?
They probably go back to the Silver Age. They probably have that sort of thing, evil plumbers. Although, really, what you could wind up doing is have a person, we'll say, the Ninja Turtles have their Rat King, the crazy sewer man that has power over rats. Mm-hmm. You could have, we'll call him the Fungus Lord. And he controls, like, sentient, not quite humanoid or semi-humanoid fungus stuff that can actually squeeze up through the sewers and all that, and they can attack from below. And so that's how he sneaks into, like, the banks and all that. It's all locked up, right? But it's all locked up from the inside. Something comes up the sewer lines, pops its way out, unlocks the stuff. He comes waltzing in.
Sounds like you need a plumber to defeat that plumber. Oh, wait, plumbers? That's like Wario, Waluigi, Luigi, and Mario.
To some degree. They don't actually spend a lot of time in the pipes, and the pipes they work with are ridiculously large, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know exactly what's going on with the Mushroom Kingdom, but they do not need that much plumbing capacity, and their infrastructure for the plumbing capacity is horrible. It's like open pipe ends everywhere. Where is the health regulations here? Yeah. This is apparently like sewer drains. Is it storm drains? What's going on here? They got this so big. You've got like vicious man and apparently I guess like fungus eating plants popping up out of them. It's so big, a grown man can jump into it and not touch the side as he goes on down. Think about that. Think how big that must be for us. Well, it'd be the size of this living room. That's huge.
You read about the sewers in Paris? Do you ever read about
the
that?
catacombs and all that?
Well, no.
Beautiful
literally, the sewers are named the same as the streets because there's basically rivers of sewer running under every street, and you have the exact not mirror, but like it's recreated.
I guess the dark and filthy pattern mirrored.
The street map of above matches what's below the streets in Paris. So you have basically sewers that are man-sized, traversable. You can walk around.
Well, I mean, you can do that. I've seen stuff like that in New York too, where it's that big. But that's in big areas like Paris and New York. In the Mushroom Kingdom, it's in the middle of nowhere.
I guess it's more of a fantasy kingdom, so.
It's not just a fantasy kingdom, it is a horribly laid out kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what's the history back there? Wouldn't that be a nice thing to actually learn the history of the kingdom, where they actually had something to do with all these pipes, and then it's degraded down to its current status, where all it's been is remnants. And why were they flushing coins down in there? Because Mario goes down, and hey, there's like 20 coins down here, and he bounces around and goes up another one, and he comes right on out.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see them try and make sense of that. Some ancient mushroom kingdom.
Yeah,
that would explain why non-mushrooms are ruling it too. I mean, you just like try and bunch all these unanswered questions. Like, why is the Mushroom Kingdom with all these little toadstool people being run by apparently humans? What's going on there?
Well,
to weave this out.
Isn't there like a Mushroom King that gets like kidnapped by Bowser or something like that? Because the princess is definitely human.
That's the thing is her dad is sometimes a mushroom person, sometimes just a kind of a fat, short guy that looks kind of like the Raja from Aladdin.
Yeah.
Sultan? Yeah, I believe he was actually Sultan.
Yeah, the Sultan.
Whatever his position name, he looked like a mushroom person. But yeah, it's not explained there. On the other hand, getting back onto the topic, it does explain why Mario never really kills Bowser. because they're kind of friends. So, yeah, sure, sometimes he steals the princess, doesn't torture her, doesn't really do too much to her except kind of take her to one of his 8 castles.
Yeah.
And then wait for Mario to show up, and then later on that week they go go-karting.
Yeah. It's the whole story of, the nobility, and they're playing their, Game of Thrones while the townsfolk, nothing really changes for, the average mushroom on the street.
Well, here's the thing. According to the booklet for the original one, all those coin blocks, all the hidden ones, all the little question mark blocks, they used to be mushroom citizens. They got transformed. Ooh. Bowser started out really dark, and you are punching, literally, in the case of those those blocks, you're punching their lights out for a coin. That's them attempting to help out. So, when they got this, like, oh, I had this one, normally, so, take the coins. But Mario was literally doof, 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 punching their lower side just to get some coins to help them out.
Are they like ghosts, or?
Apparently they've just been like transmogrified into the blocks.
Okay. Sort of like
weird.
I remember Sonic the Hedgehog had when you kill the robot enemies.
Oh yeah, all the little creatures come out.
Woodland creature hops out like a little.
Yeah, apparently the big thing that Robotnik could not really do was to you create a robot's mind to be as accurate as like any developed sentient mind. So he was turning them into robots, but they were basically cyborgs because they were running off of the brain. He just converted that so it would follow them.
Yeah.
Which is really freaking dark, too. But they never really go too deep into that one. And nowadays it's working with Sonic and people in really weird circumstances in video games that really aren't that good. So take from that what you will.
One other sort of exile topic that I was thinking of introducing was also every once in a while, like in a dungeon or, because the name dungeon, often... you have to have someone dunged in it. Mm-hmm. Indunged. That's
indunged. It's a good verb.
Yeah. You find an indunged person that turns out to be like an exiled king or prince or something.
Oh yeah, because you got like the man in the iron mask sort of thing going on there.
Exactly, yeah, down in the dungeon. So
in which case that's family loyalty. It's like, well, he's my brother and he's technically the ruler of the thing, but I really just don't have the heart to kill him, so I'll make sure no one knows who he is. Put an iron mask on his face. And hope
mercy.
And hope he doesn't come out as a medieval Iron Man. Because tell me this, now that I've mentioned it, you are totally thinking about that, like an Iron Man redo for the man in the iron mask.
Yeah, I want to see that. I might even steal that one day for a campaign, like just have a dude in a Gollum suit or something like that.
I was imprisoned in this suit, and I used, my time to devote to massive psionic powers, which I can focus through the eye slots and, out through this bit here. Mm-hmm. And so he effectively, animates the suit and becomes a living Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. Actually, how would you do that stat-wise? Like in D&D, if you wanted to have a golem with like either a human or maybe even a gnome sort of encased in it and like trapped, like the iron mask, so they can't get out, but somehow, magically sustained. Like, I don't know if there's maybe a little feeding tube or you drop little nuggets.
It only costs 3 power points a day to survive without food or water.
True.
They could be very hungry and thirsty, but that's like what the equivalent of a second level spell then.
Yeah.
So very, very minor magic's required to keep them in there without needing to crack the case open.
Yeah. So in order, like, if you were going to run this against players, do you think it would be better to do, like, the human stats with, like, the suit counts as armor? Or do you think it'd be better to just have the golem stats?
I'd work it as a suit of armor with some very interesting special properties.
Okay.
I would effectively give it a 50% chance at, like, any mind control failure. Well, actually, I'd give it automatic failure unless you know where to target. If you think it is a golem, you will always fail because you're technically targeting the suit, which is immune to that sort of stuff. But if you know there's someone in there and you can somehow get like the proper mental image, or like scrying or something, X-ray vision, whatever, you can see in there. In which case, you could properly target for mental effects.
Yeah, maybe. Well, psionics I see working sort of that way, in that you're able to sort of see another mind, like, psionics has that extra sight.
Like I said, with stuff like the X-ray vision spell that they have, to actually look in and know that there's someone there to target.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, it's a golem. I can't target a mind-affecting thing. A golem has no mind.
Yeah.
It's like, in this case, it would be treat as a golem unless they know there's a person in there.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are enchantment spells. Like, I've seen this countless times with, like, D&D groups, or, like, they don't remember. For some reason, they're like, they don't know, or the players are new or something. They don't know that a golem can't be targeted with, charm person or whatever. So they're like, I try charm person. Usually a DM's like, okay, well, it has no effect. If a DM is generous, they'll be like,
roll a spellcraft check to figure out whether or not why it's called charm person, not charm golem.
Yeah, but I'm imagining, like, it'd be interesting if the scenario is that the player's like, well, I know it's a long shot, but I'm just gonna cast it anyway. Sort of charm person straight ahead. It's my last spell prepared. I used up all my spells in previous rooms.
After this, I'm effectively a 4th level commoner.
It's my Hail Mary, and like, as a DM, I'd be like, well, you didn't know that there was a creature inside there. But the charm spell sort of extends almost as like a ray of just energy that sort of extends mindlessly into the
well, that would be like a ray of charm.
I guess. Well, it's
the spell
like
itself
that,
is like for a specific target. But as you can see on your right-hand side, the people listening cannot. So I'll describe it. I have a jester's mask, a wonderful little Italian-style jester's mask up on the wall. Mm-hmm. To the best of my knowledge, there's no living person inside of it. Mm-hmm. So if Josh was to try and charm person on it, it would do nothing because there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. But if there's someone behind it, because on the other side is a bedroom, if he was to cast it in that direction, he would not charm the person on the other side.
That's true. It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't hit somebody in another room.
So I would qualify it like that. Has standard immunities for a non-sentient creature, unless there's a creature in there. Rays probably wouldn't be able to target it, depending on how closed up it is.
Yeah, like rays would basically hit the suit and damage the suit.
Yeah.
Or golem.
But if you're doing something like a ray of enfeeblement on the suit of armor, it's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. But a ray of disintegration is going to hit it just per normal.
What if there's what if there's like a 50% failure chance or something like that? Because you technically are targeting the creature. In some way.
But it would be considered effectively a ranged touch attack.
Well, maybe something like that.
But you wouldn't be able to properly touch them. If you got the suit all closed up, it wouldn't be able to actually touch them. You'd only be touching the armor itself. Which isn't to mean you couldn't use some interesting tactics. A heat metal spell does very little against a normal person, but against a person inside an iron suit, they are going to be effectively inside of an oven.
Yeah.
And I could rule some very entertaining extra damage on that one.
I
cast summon water inside the suit, and then I cast heat metal. I've boiled him alive.
Oh, boy.
So there's your sadism there.
The golem's just operating normally, and then you cast those spells, and it just sort of like steam comes and it just stops moving.
It's kind of like the Iron Man, the Tin Man sort of thing, where he toot toot when he's singing his song. It's just kind of hear a nice horrible scream and then a whistling coming out of the eye sockets as steam comes out. All remains ominously silent afterwards. So I'd be very more lenient in playing that by ear, depending on how much it's closed up. Because you could argue like a suit where so like a sensory deprivation tank. There's no eye holes and he's preserved. Like he doesn't need to breathe, eat, or sleep or anything in there. Mm-hmm. And so that's to heighten his tortures, is to be forever preserved within like this void of nothingness. Mm-hmm. And then he develops the power of his mind. Because what else are you going to do? Look inward, buddy. Yeah. And so he's animating the suit, and he's he's teleprojecting his senses without on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. That could present a very interesting monster, and I would really dig seeing anybody's interpretation of how to write that up in a stat block.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
Or you could also take it one step further, and have some fun. Invisibility affects objects, I've had a lot of potential fun with invisibility doing that. Like, you cast it on a door, like after, monsters are chasing you, you close the door behind you, cast invisibility on the door, and then keep running. See who goes headlong straight into the door. You could have some other fun by, leaving an invisible anvil in the middle of a road.
Oh, boy.
And I say anvil only because it's easier to find stats for that. I have yet to find proper D&D stats for a bear trap. But as soon as I do, that combination of invisibility and bear trap is going to be so sweet. They never even saw it as their head hit the pillow, or what they thought was going to be the pillow.
Oh, wow.
Vicious, but so beautiful. But yeah, you could wind up effectively knowing that the person's in there, and you cast invisibility on the suit. The suit's now invisible, and hey, there's a person. Or the person trapped in there could cast invisibility on the suit, so that way they don't have to project their mind outwards. They can see through it. Everyone thinks they're in there. I suppose maybe just in some ratty old skivvies, because who knows how long they've been in there. The clothes have rotted off them. Yeah. Or maybe it's just a naked person running around. And why don't these touch spells affect it? He's got some sort of weird barrier. It's like, no, man, it's an invisibility spell. Boy, did you get suckered into that one. So you could really play it as a very unique, different sort of fight style that way. In which case, I would very much relish seeing this creature as an interesting boss. Yeah. Something a little different, than the usual tank and spank sort of fights.
Yeah, and he could be, I guess I got on that because he would be some kind of exile.
He would be imprisoned, exiled within, and he finds his release that way. That said, I suppose as soon as he gets powerful enough, he might want to consider doing a teleport power. Just pop himself out.
Yeah. And then he's like, I feel so naked out here.
It's cold. Has it always been this cold out here? What's this breed? I'm teleporting back in. See, my arms were like this. Hope I get this right. And that's how he lost his finger. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's a great thing is the imprisonment within. Because you could effectively see that as being like, what did they used to call them? The torture ones where they slammed you inside with that casket full of spikes. The Iron Maiden?
Oh, yeah, Iron Maiden.
Yeah, in which case, forget the spikes, just seal them up inside, their own, living sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And, now there's an interesting monster in itself, a construct that seeks to, grab someone and keep them within them.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Iron Maiden, basically.
Yeah. And that would be a very interesting sort of monster to fight.
I wonder if that might be in one of the Scarred Lands books.
Well, I've got all three of the monster books there, so I guess I'll give a browse through, and if not, I'm putting a pin in that one. 5th edition's just around the corner.
Yeah.
If you want to make a nice note for yourself as someone to watch, that other people want to keep track of, I think that's about as good a start monster as anything. Have some fun with it, man. Make something people will remember.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Heck, they could even, under the Scarred Lands thing, they could wind up working it as like a spontaneous golem. Like, you kill too many innocent people with like a hangman's gallows, that thing will animate and go around hanging people.
Oh, yeah.
And the picture for that was awesome. Just absolute awesome. See if you can Google it. I don't know if the image is up online, but I hope so. Everyone needs to see that. It's a wonderful monster.
Cool.
I wish I made it myself.
I want to mention also at this point our email address and everything. It's thesimulationist@gmail.com. And also we're on facebook.com/thesimulationist. You can like the page, and then you can chat about the show, anything you liked or didn't like, or new ideas that popped into your head during the show, or don't be afraid to share them with us, because we're all in this about sharing ideas, and we don't mind if people take the ideas that we throw out on this podcast.
Bounce them back to us, man. Play it like a game of volleyball.
Yeah, so we're all about the open exchange of ideas. What else? There's a YouTube channel too. It's the same thing as what you probably are listening to on iTunes.
But depending on how you browse through stuff, it might be a little easier for you to get a hold of, depending on what operating system you've got going.
And I use our YouTube account for the show also to favorite whenever we mention a YouTube video or something like that, I add it to the playlist of our favorites, so you can check that out. And iTunes, if you like it, leave a review for us.
Give us as many stars as you think we're worth.
Exactly.
Add +1.
Yeah, give us a bonus. That's all that for that.
All right, so I've been saving this little chestnut for the very end. Superman, Silver Age particular, with his Phantom Zone projector. For those who don't know, Superman's dad had this wonderful device where he could banish people into like a limbo-like state, where they could see the world, going on and not interact with it at all. They were effectively ghosts. The Phantom Zone. They were like phantoms. That's why it got its name. And so at the bottom of all the stuff he was sending with Super Baby when they were getting ready to send him off away from the exploding planet, he put the Phantom Zone projector. I don't know why it wasn't in the hands of the government, why he was able to get it so easily and just take it wherever he wanted, but I don't know, Kryptonian law.
Didn't he have high-level access to
he was also very heavily ridiculed for being insane about this. Oh yeah, the world's about to explode. So he probably lost a lot of credential, and they probably should have revoked his clearance.
Maybe they were about to do that.
Yeah. And then whoops. Day late, dollar short. But yeah, he had that in the Silver Age, the really bad ones, like the Kryptonian level stuff. Because Superman doesn't kill, he's got a rule against that. Because if Superman starts killing, Superman can do stuff like push the moon into the Earth. So if you ever got that fight of who would win, Batman versus Superman, you're really arguing Batman versus the moon, because Superman can use that as a weapon.
Yeah.
But he did have the Phantom Zone projector, and he would put the enemies in there. I remember they used it in the Justice League cartoons. Doomsday was so violent and horrible that they couldn't put him anywhere normal for prison, so they exiled him to the Phantom Zone stuff. And yeah, what do you think about that, Josh? Is like from a superhero perspective, because we've been talking fantasy. What about the sci-fi superhero stuff?
Oh well, yeah. What about it?
Does it work as like a gimmick? Like I can't kill, but I do have to acknowledge some of my enemies are so violent and dangerous. No normal prison is suitable for them. And Arkham Asylum is made out of toilet paper, so I don't want to be accused of being a sloppy hero as Batman. So I guess I'm going to have to put them somewhere. I can effectively phase them out of existence. They can see reality, and hopefully they can find some form of redemption, but by and large, they are dead to the world. They cannot be perceived, detected through any normal means. They just float like a ghost.
Yeah, it might be necessary because...
the Superman end of power level, more necessary than, say, Spider-Man.
It does put, especially superheroes who are supposed to be extremely moral and always do the right thing.
Which is not how they started out, by the way. They were vigilantes to begin with. It wasn't until World War II they became synonymous with the man.
And
sort of power that is.
Morality tales and things like the heroes are sort of role models for children and stuff like that. So they do walk that line where they have to be they don't kill, or although a few superheroes break the trend, of course.
I mean, that's basically the role of the Punisher.
Yeah.
What do? I kill. That's my superpower. I kill things.
So you need that cheat. You need a little bit of, this magic device that gets rid of them yet doesn't kill them, which sort of real life doesn't really have, because real life is messy. We have Guantanamo Bay, and we have stupid things like that. And
now imagine what happens if you're torturing somebody in Guantanamo Bay, and it turns out they've got laser eyes, super strength, and invulnerability.
Yeah, I guess you have to kill them. I mean, in real life, I cannot imagine allowing that power to go free in the world. And that's we talked about the Watchmen a few times. How do they live with superheroes just being loose?
Well, that's the thing. Most of them are just normal people, except for Dr. Manhattan, who all he needs to do is think, and a person suddenly turns inside out.
Yeah.
And how did they get him under control? Well, they managed to convince him to become a part of the system. He became the man.
Yeah.
He ended the Vietnam conflict in a week.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And that's sort of, there's a political theory about absolute power. On the one hand, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. But on the other hand, absolute power, if you have absolute power, what could you possibly want? Sure, I mean, I guess people become your playthings, but at the same time, if you have absolute power, you have no reason to sort of jockey with the other.
There's an interesting theory called the red panty theory. Mm-hmm. Now, let's say you are a god of varying power. You got a little slide indicator. and you can extend your senses out in a certain way. Now there's a lady a certain distance away. She's got a really racy pair of red panties. I didn't come up with this, folks. I'm just relating this back. Okay, just so you know,
Thank you for.
There's some lady out there with a racy pair of red panties, and so it comes to be that at a certain point, you with your expanding omniscient capabilities can see these panties, and they fixate on your attention because whoa, she wears them well, apparently. But if you keep going and expanding that out, there's increasingly more likely that there's going to be something else that catches your interest. And so the panties won't wind up being racy enough to capture your interest there.
You can see the underwear of all the women in the world.
Or maybe it's not just underwear, it's something actual of like proper noble merit catches your interest. Like, oh, hey, look at that. There's a particle reaction occurring here that is very rare and happening at near the speed of light. I want to really focus my attention. Or it's like, oh, dude, look at this rock here. I can see the tectonic plates moving. Oh my goodness, this is so stressful and suspenseful. Oh. And yeah, the further out your senses go, the less likely this one thing's going to capture your attention. And that's basically, it's like how powerful is God? It's basically what the argument is that God can only be so powerful, otherwise humanity's just not worth the attention. But it also works well for incredibly powerful individuals like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Why is he paying attention to people when he really wants to see like an atom spontaneously change its nature? It's potentially possible, but so rare, he would much rather expand his senses out to find that happening. So yeah, in which case, with someone like him, the question of why he's even bothering with people starts, I don't know. There's just that one lady hanging on that's keeping him there.
Yeah, and then he exiles himself for a while, too.
He gets tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these people. I'm tired of the webs weaved around me. I just want to be alone. It paraphrases. He's actually got a really great monologue. Yeah. Try and find it if you can. I have a hard time finding it on YouTube because, well, copyright laws, but it is a very nice monologue. Mm-hmm. Very deep, very solemn, wonderfully done. Billy Crudup did the voice for him, I believe.
Oh, I don't know.
He's got a very nice voice, and he talks it so wonderfully monotone and passionateless when you can tell it's deeply eating at him. But that's a nice tangent we've gotten off to there.
The tangent.
The Phantom Zone projectors is, or something like it, is necessary for those who won't kill to maintain it without being recklessly negligent in their life-saving duties.
Yeah, and it's.
Or is it just effectively the higher-powered version of the jail? We are normal-powered people. We have normal-powered criminals. If they are bad, we banish them to the prison.
Put them in jail
for a set length of time. And there you go. So
I guess if you have super criminals, you need super justice and
super jails.
Part of super justice is super jails. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be an interesting comic to read? Forget the adventures of Superman, the adventures of Batman, the adventures of normal guy in super criminal prison. Because that's basically what they were doing with Amanda Waller for a while. Was basically her as a normal person trying to keep all these super powerful, crazy people under control and confined, and maybe if you can get beyond that, even rehabilitated. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, but she's not one to put her hopes on that. She's willing to just keep them confined for the rest of their natural or unnatural lives.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't. Yeah.
Like, is she a guard of some kind?
She was the head of the prison complex. She was the wall, as they call it, that everyone comes up against. I would really dig that, because you could have that set in any comic book universe that has numerous superheroes, and then all the villains could have like a rotating cast as she tries to keep them confined.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I like that too. Like in a role-playing game, imagine I was thinking about how there's this problem of in RPGs what to do with the bad guys, especially if they surrender or if you don't kill them, like. You have to decide.
Okay with you, I think I'd take that drink now. Loki at the end of the Avengers.
Stuff like that. And I was thinking, it would be really useful if there was a way to do, the Superman thing with banish them to another. And there are spells banishment spells. Although I
recall one spell at least that opens up effectively a bottomless pit that really just banishes them to a select.
Falling for eternity.
It's just a prison plane of air.
Yeah.
Down you go forever.
But it would be interesting if there was also like an extra dimensional prison which had a prison guard that the players could interact with, and the prison guard's like always, you guys are always sending me the worst of the worst, and
well, that's kind of our job. We're heroes. But so you're saying like a splat book for that might be a very interesting thing for a campaign. You know, here's some spells to banish them to, not just like, okay, you're a demon, I banish you to your home plane. No, I banish you to prison land.
Yeah, which could be Carceri, like, because that's sort of designed that way.
Yeah, on the other hand, the evil people seem to be running the jail there as well.
Yeah.
So you could have something like, I suppose, like a genie or whatever type sort of prison race, you know, sort of thing where they're the jailers.
Yeah. And I think you see that every once in a while, like on different planes, sometimes they mention, oh yeah, there's a prison, like, I think Celestia has a prison on the lowest level. Ah,
yes, to try and reform the bad people that still have a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, and I think there might be some prisons in the Outlands. Oh, actually, technically, Sigil is a prison.
For at least one person.
Is it Sigil?
Sigil.
Yeah. I think it's
if you call it Sigil, that's actually worthy of getting beaten up by the Sigilites.
Okay. Well, I'm never going there.
Sigillians? I think Sigillian sounds better.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah. So I would dig that as a splat book. I like that. See this, stats for how bad the jailers are. You banished me to the plane of prisoners and all that, and I will get my revenge as soon. But no. See, this guy's got 13 hit dice. You've only got 7. You ain't making it out, buddy. So yeah, you could have some fun that way. And I would love to see that splat book. I'm calling dibs on that for 5th edition for a nice idea for a splat book.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I guess we've gone a bit over time, as we always usually.
We have so much to talk about every week.
We do. Do we have any final thoughts?
I think it's a very good plot tactic, even though it doesn't always make logical sense. And sometimes, I hate to say it, you do have to sacrifice logic for the dramatic story stuff.
True enough. Yeah, fair enough. And with that, I suppose I will sign off. I've been Josh Trelevin.
I've been Ryan Kirkby.
Send money.